Hi, I'm gonna get straight to it because I personally hate when videos make you watch 20 minutes of fluff just to get to the point. So, my name's Nikita Lambert, and my top 2 pointers for anyone who wants to leave anything are: one, you have to know that leaving is always an option, and two, you have to believe it's possible. Okay, if you are someone who's contemplating leaving and to the point that you're watching a YouTube video about it, there may be some mental anguish involved there. And I could say I know a thing or two about that because when I was 18 years old, I left. My narcissistic mom moved like 6.5, 7 hours away to go to college, and our relationship was never the same after that. I went low to no contact. I left a cult that I was in from 2007 to 2021. I left my marriage, I left my job, and in the process of all of these leavings, that's leaving family of origin, created family, church, cult family, work family, business that I helped to build, and I just decided at different points in my life I can't do this anymore for one reason or another. So I would say that between my own journey and a lot of friends that I have who have either, cut off contact with a narcissistic parent or left a cult or left a marriage, that I have gathered quite a few tidbits of useful information. Now, when you are embedded, enmeshed, immersed, all the things in these all-consuming like relationships, dynamics, sometimes it doesn't even occur to you that leaving is an option, right? Like if you're at a job that you work and that you're passionate about or that you've devoted so much time to, maybe you're just looking for the right compromise. Maybe you're waiting for your boss to hear you. Maybe you're waiting for conditions to get better, but you don't want to give into the sunken cost fallacy, which is, okay, well, I've already given this much time, I would hate to waste it. And so what ends up happening is you just end up wasting more and more time, but you feel more and more invested. And so it gets harder and harder to leave. So you really just gotta go. Know that it's a possibility for people who got married in cults or extremely conservative religious environments, cultures. There may be scriptures in your mind like God hates divorce, love always perseveres, love protects, love never fails, things like that. And it can be hard to even imagine yourself leaving that situation. Or even if you weren't very religious, right? A lot of us have this thought that like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna find my person, we're gonna make it work, you and me, for better, for worse, richer or poorer, in sickness and health, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But when that is the thing that is making you poor or making you sick, making you feel worse, you start to think, you start to wonder, should I stay? You don't have to. Now, I'm not saying leave. I just want to let you know it is an option. When people would suggest, like, why don't you look for another job? Or have you considered separation? Or, things like that. Initially, it was either like disbelief or like, that's not an option. I'm sticking it out. I'm sticking it out. Or then there would be this fear. And that's where the other part comes in. You have to know it's possible, okay? And these are different things. They sound very similar, but they're different, okay? One, know that it's an option on the table. You can leave. You can decide to move away from your family. You can do that. That's a choice. You don't have to stay, and it doesn't make you an evil person. Now to know it's possible, right? Because when someone says, maybe you could leave your job, maybe you could look for another job, you might be tempted to think, oh my gosh, but the job market is so uncertain and there are ghost jobs and I don't have enough credentials. I've always just been there and I don't interview well. Or leaving your marriage. Well, I don't know how to do the finances for my house and I'm already so tired. What will I do? I'll be lonely. I'll be afraid. I'm not smart enough. I'm not resourceful enough. I'm not connected enough to people. I don't have enough of a community. You want to leave your church. I'm too scared. I'm not spiritually able on my own. I don't want to be a weak sheep out there. And who's going to help me? And how will I worship? Whoa. You can do it. You have to know it's possible. And so this requires maybe some meditation. And I'm not talking about like, but if that's your jam, then go for it. I mean, just sit, think about it. Let the ideas come to you. If you have anybody at all that you can trust, use them as a sounding board. What information do they know? What stories have they heard? What resources are they connected to, or can they lead you to, to help you get by? Get creative, get resourceful, and then you have to decide, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice a bit of comfort? Are you willing to sacrifice the size of your village and your community? Are you willing to sacrifice a bit financially in the meantime? Are you willing to, kind of like the slingshot analogy, are you willing to bring yourself back? Are you willing to bring yourself back a bit so you can catapult forward? I just mixed slingshot with catapult, but you know what I mean. You got to get the plan, but you can't have the plan if you don't acknowledge that leaving is an option. It's something that you can do. It makes me think of the song in Hamilton by The King. I wasn't aware that was something a person could do. Are you aware that people leave and it's okay? And then you have to believe it's possible, that with time, with planning, careful planning, that this can happen. This can be a thing that you can do. And that's it. That's where you start. That is the ground floor, baby. It's all up from there. So if you have any other advice for people who are leaving, go ahead and leave that in the comments. If you're in a place where you feel safe to ask a question on a public forum like a YouTube comment section, feel free to ask a question about leaving, and I could talk about that in a future video. But yeah, those are my top tips for anyone who wants to leave, is that, or anyone who feels trapped and is considering leaving. It's like, where do I even start? First, sit with the fact that it is an option. It's scary, it's big, it's huge change. But you can do it. And then instead of allowing yourself to get drowned by all of the, I could never, I can't because of this, because of that, and say, okay, this is a challenge. How can I overcome it? I hope this video was helpful, inspiring even a little bit. I always just try to make the content that I could have used when I was in a spot, and I really wish that I would have just seen something like this. I was really fortunate to have friends who helped me to believe this. But yeah, so I hope this was helpful for even just one.